so 6 magic rings, not emeralds. Might start to see a reason why I'm playing certain games. Originally a side-scrolling, but later turned into a 3D game. This game was later said to have a. Okay, I'm not entirely sure if this needs to be included. It was supposed to have like some time with a film of some sort, so there's gonna be some kind of interesting thing. I'm not entirely sure how it worked. It sounded kind of interesting, so I thought I would include it here. I'm not entirely sure what it entails. If it was like a movie or just a movie, would include it in it. It would be included in a movie or something. I'm not entirely sure if it actually ended up being included or not. I don't think it did, but it might have been planned to. Anyways, the main thing about this is that Sonic Extreme, and I'll go back to the other image real quick, was planned to be a very big Sonic game. This wasn't just, any Sonic game, but this was planning to be kind of their big um, project out of, I think a couple were worked on at the time, but, I can't speak on everything. I'm just looking over the information, and from what I can tell, that seems to be the case. That there might have been a couple things thought of, but this was like the big project at the time. Unfortunately, this was a game that never saw coming out, but we did get some other games. Basically, from what it says here, is it was going to succeed Sonic and Knuckles. So, you know, pretty big game there. And especially going from 2D to 3D makes it an even bigger game, right? Because the only 3D game I think before that was Sonic 3D Blast, which I actually played, or Sonic CD. I get that confused. Anyways, I have like the Mega Collection or whatever on. Uh, I think is it PS2 or is it? Yeah, PS2. I mean, it's probably on both, but I have it on PS2. Anyways, I played through that a while ago. I recorded and everything. Anyways, I won't go too much into detail, but the fact that I played it and the fact that this was supposed to be the very next 3D game wasn't originally intended to be a 3D game, but was intended to succeed Sonic and Knuckles. Anyways, the important bit about this game is, of course, it being 3D. The fact that it was apparently going to include the 6 magic rings instead of emeralds, which, I mean, we did the 7 magic rings, right? So, we kind of went there, or I recently did play through. Right now in the stream, I just got done playing through it. If you're watching the VOD or video, however this is labeled, I just got finished playing through Sonic and the Secret Ring. 7 rings in that one. This one's going to be 6. And they were going to be tied to a character, which I don't actually know if this character is even in any of the. Yeah, I think she is, but yeah, uh, there's gonna be so many different characters and stuff. Anyways, apparently Fang, Metal Sonic were planned as bosses. It's kind of funny because the game I just played, Robo Blast 2, has that in it. Um, it's just like if you look at everything I've been doing, definitely points to this. However, I just want to make this clear. Uh, this is kind of the cool part. So I wasn't making this because I was thinking of Sonic Extreme. I wasn't thinking about that at all. I wasn't thinking about Sonic Extreme. I wasn't thinking about Sonic Robo Blast. I don't think either, as far as I'm aware. I wasn't thinking about that either. I wasn't thinking about any of the other games that I played here. I was actually thinking about something else. I'm not 100% sure if I found it. Maybe I did, or maybe I found a game. Oh wait, no. I didn't find it. I found a game that somehow took up a similar name that that project had, and then it was kind of made by someone that was kind of in the know of the other person that made it. Basically, two two things projects. It's kind of weird how they have the same name. I don't know entirely why they did, but basically, I think it was inspired at least partially by the project that I was thinking about. So this was as close as I can get to it, basically, because everywhere I go, it's kind of deleted and abandoned. Can't find it anywhere. It seems like a pretty big, ambitious project. It also, I'm gonna put this out there. It gets confused with a another like Sonic developed game. I think it's actually developed by a team, like a another team that was gonna work. Anyways, however, the teams are working in together or whatnot. This other game, and I'll get into it in just a minute, is tied to another game which people don't like to talk about very much for some reason. Just looking and researching into it, so I don't want to like bring up anything about that too much. But I just want to put it there. Like if you look into this, you might come across the game that has a similar name that just pops up in search for some odd reason because of the name just being very similar. Anyways, it's not the same thing I was thinking about, but it's easy to get confused with. Basically, everything's easy to get confused with this. It was a very hard thing to put together, a very hard thing to compile the information for because of how confusing it was, and you might have noticed it being confusing as I've been making all of these streams. You might have thought, well, okay, this is what the stream's about. Well, maybe this is what the stream's about, or maybe I didn't think about it. Maybe just, okay, I'm playing through a bunch of games, but, if you tried to deep dive or look into what I was doing, you might have realized, what is he doing? Is he okay? Well, what exactly is Sonic X Doom supposed to be? Is like, oh, this game, and no, this, and you might start to notice that once I show you this game. I'm sorry to have so much build up here before we get into it. Partially, I just need to look away from the screen for a minute because I've been staring at the screen for however long playing that game. But and the second part is that this is a confusing bit of information. Plus, I will be showing something that is like I said, a connected project, and in a depth. I don't have images, but I have a depth that I can show it to you in, and I'm gonna do that. Let me get that depth ready, and keep the um, last image I have up here while I do that. I need a second to get my vision adjusted. Anyways, uh, I'll get it up in just a second. Okay. Anyway, all that out of the way, and get things brought up, and we'll get into that. Just mute this while I do that. Okay, this is going to be a quick test to see if it works, because it's a little bit complicated to get it working, but I want to see if this works real quick. So I'm going to disable this while I do it. Alright, it's not going to work with that. Give me 1 second. Let me get it going. Okay, I'm going to get it fixed real quick, because it's in a very bad aspect ratio. But, give me a minute. So... let me get the audio fixed through here. I need to turn it down on my end just a smidge. This is really loud. I hope this music isn't like, you know, if it is, I'm gonna be a little upset. Okay, so I'm gonna relaunch the game real quick. And then, I'm gonna hopefully have it captured once I do this. It's a difficult thing to do, but here we go. This is a game by the name of Sonic Blitz. Now, if you look that up, you're probably going to find something else. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. And the game I was thinking about, I don't think it was called Sonic Blitz. I think it was called, and when you, I just want to put it out there, when you look this up, you're going to probably find a different game. But it's basically supposed to be a game like this. But it's supposed to be very similar to what we played, Sonic Roboblast 2, and similar to, I guess, Sonic Extreme. Basically, it was built in, I think, Doom or something like that, right? And basically it's a Sonic game that you could play in Doom somehow, but it was actually a Sonic game. It's a really interesting thing, and this is, I guess, partially inspired by the project, which was meant to be its own Sonic game, but it was built with Doom. And you know, I just thought the fact that a Sonic game was built in Doom was very ambitious and cool. The fact that I could find anything and everything was being deleted and removed and stuff, I understand why, but I thought it was at least worth mentioning the fact that something like that happened, and that you can actually find this project right here. Rather than include it in the video, if you ask about it, I'll definitely add it to it if I haven't, because, you know, the VODs and streams, I usually just kind of leave as is from the stream and chop stuff up. But this one's a special case because this was originally going to be a video. Originally I was looking for a video I thought existed, and I guess it didn't. Either that or it got removed or something for some reason. Anyways, I have no idea why. I'm not involved in any of it, so I can't speak or say or anything like that, and I don't even know where to look, to say the least. I mean, I looked around, but as far as I can tell, most of the things are being deleted. I'm not going to tell you to go look or anything like that very much, but I will say, you know, if you're interested in it, this is the closest thing that you can find to it, Sonic Blitz. But the game I was looking at was called Sonic Speed Streak, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the right name. Sonic Speed Streak. And yeah, that was a... But there were two different games that prop up with it. Now, I might be getting confused with it because I have what I have written down might be a secondary one. Anyways, I don't know if it was abbreviated or something like that, but it was a game that was built in Doom or something like that, or at least there was a game surrounding it. Anyways, the information is very confusing, but um, I'm gonna get to the initial thing here. So initially, when I was planning this, um, to my knowledge of and let me just bring it up because it's actually more relevant if I bring that up. Give me 1 second. Um, so when I was originally doing this, this is what. Uh, anyways, yeah, this is what I remembered. Right, I remembered a Sonic mod to play Sonic and Doom, but not like the character being Sonic. I mean, actual Sonic game in Doom. It was very interesting. Like he actually plays through the Doom level in a Sonic game, 2D and everything, like we did with Robo Blaster. Anyways, it was a really interesting thing. I've struggled to find it, but as I looked more into this, whether or not the game existed or things like that, well, as far as I could find, uh, apparently it was Sonic Speed uh, Streak, or may have gone like a secondary name by Sonic Blitz. I'm not 100% sure. Um, it may change names, may have had different names. There's a lot of names that got thrown around for this game. It's probably why it's hard to find or why you can't find it anymore. Is because it was just too confusing to get people to find it, and it might have conflicted with the other projects that were being worked on at the same time. So there is potentially that too. I can't guarantee everything that went into it, but basically there was a game, Sonic Speed Streak, potentially also Sonic by the name of Sonic Blitz, but then the game I just showed you is Sonic Blitz, but it's a different fan game. If you, I guess, well, one I don't know if it's a mod or a fan game to be honest. It's kind of hard to tell the difference here, but it was basically a game at the point it was made, and by point it was made, I mean the fact that the game was fleshed out as well as it was actually pretty much a game. If it was a mod, as far as I could tell, it was just built in the engine and stuff like that. Anyways, it was really, really interesting. And, I just found all of this information fascinating, just how it connected to Sonic Extreme, how Sonic Robo Blast kind of was inspired by some of this stuff, how Sonic Blitz was inspired by this other, I guess, fan project that was being worked on that was built within Doom. I mean, and all of this stuff, like, it's like an actual game, and then other games spinning off of it. It is just so interesting. But I don't want to go too much into it because I just couldn't find much about it. And I have zero idea, like, uh, if one game's getting confused with the other, so I didn't really want to go more into it than what we're doing here. Because there are, like I said, there is one game that people don't like talking about. But I think, I did a lot of extensive research on this. And as far as I can tell, these are two separate games, not the same one. And it's just very similar abbreviation, at least. So, anyway, it was a very interesting thing. I rather not this is relevant. I will mention it. Uh, what brought it to my attention. I remember seeing a video about it, like I said, but basically it was I don't know which levels in Doom it was. Basically, it was a 2D Sonic, kind of like what we played, but it was a 3D game, 3D Sonic Tales and everything. Go through the Doom levels, but the characters. and you play through the dim levels and fight through with I guess the traditional enemies and whatnot in it in a Sonic game, not a Doom game, but was Doom levels in it and stuff. Anyways, very fascinating stuff. I wanted to bring it to light. I didn't know if it was enough for a video. I didn't know if it was too much for a stream. So we're kind of meeting in the middle here. It's kind of gonna be a bit of both, but um, it's just been this month-long event. Uh, I've literally played through. I'm gonna count it as 5 full games, right? And um, that's all in the celebration of this event. But there's a little more to it, and I'll talk later. It's not going to be included maybe in this bit, or maybe it will be. Maybe it'll be included at the end. We'll see. We'll see, because there's a little bit of stuff I want to talk about, in addition to what we've talked about with this. So we'll see how far this goes. I just want to double check that I don't have any other information that I didn't cover, because there's just so much about it that I got. But yeah. Anyways, when it comes to Sonic Blitz, just to let's be a little more thorough. I think it's abandoned now at this point, but it was a fan project that was worked on. You can still get it to test it out and stuff. People can mod it, change it, edit it. As far as I'm aware, do whatever they want with it. It's completely open. So it's if I'm not mistaken, what's the easier way to look it up? So it's on Sonic Blitz. It's on getgud.io, but it's Blitz Sonic, so you can find it there. But yeah, so if you do want to check it out, you can check it out there. That's the game that I'm going to suggest to check out. I'm not going to put any of the other stuff that I did a lot of research because I wanted to find the game. I just wanted to find if someone saved it, because it actually existed and it was played, and I found some screenshots of the game. I'm not going to share the screenshots because I couldn't actually find the game. If I could find the game, I might have shared the game and maybe some screenshots. But I don't want to get into anything just in case. I'm going to be cautious here. But I can share this Blitz for you. It's a cool game. Apparently, it's somewhat tied to this, so I can at least mention it in relation to that. Because I couldn't actually find it anyways. So this is a pretty cool game in and of itself. I don't know if there's a wiki for it or anything. I don't know if there's really if there's too much about it other than what you could find here on, like I said, to get GUD. That's the only place I could find any information about it. But it does say it was an attempt recreating an old school Sonic Hedgehog feeling in gameplay. Anyways, 3D environment, roots of what made Sonic important. I don't know what the aim of this was. It says I'm starting to complete the project, even create all new fan games like Sonic Anniversary or Sonic World. Okay, so there was a lot at the time that this was being created. I don't know what the year this was, but I think it was quite a bit, like a while ago. Oh, okay, okay. It says after Blitz Sonic Project was canceled, decided to open source the game in an incomplete state. So there's only one level known as Green Hell. The develop So according to the developers, this level was going to be the first in the complete version of the game, and is reconstruction for the alpha version of what has been released back in 2008. So yeah, 2008. And like I said, this was taken on at, I guess, a similar time. That was, I think that means Doom 1 was very old. And I don't remember it being like, I thought it was a new thing. I thought I saw like a video about it. And it was like a new thing. And it was like, like 2 years ago. I thought I saw it. Maybe I did. Maybe that was something else. I don't know. But, looking into it, I found this. Seems to be what I was talking about. 2008, probably before that even. So yeah, there's some interesting timelines here for this for sure. I honestly couldn't tell you everything that's going on here because it's not all there, but from what is there, something interesting was happening here. Something interesting was happening with Sonic, both in the community and being developed and stuff. And I just think like this, you can call it an era, you can call it whatever you want. It's just an interesting time for Sonic games, and I thought it was a really important and interesting thing to bring up since we're gonna have the movie come out. And all the games and stuff coming out. Anyways, there's just so many interesting things about Sonic right at this point in time. I thought, this is like one of the really big, interesting ones that I'm familiar with. I thought I might as well put it into a format because I don't think too many people are familiar with it. At least, I think there's some information here that I presented that not too many people are going to be familiar with or even be able to be familiar with it because of just how difficult it is to come across this specific information. And you might just, go over it and think, well, okay, this is like fan game here. This is, they get made, and there's so many cool ones and stuff. But you might not have realized just how much connected this was to a canceled Sonic game, and how much this was connected with Doom. Like, I mean, that just it blew my mind. I mean, this Blitz might not be, to be fair, like the Doom part with Blitz. The one I'm talking about, Sonic Speed Streak, I think that one was connected with Doom. Anyways, um, but this Blitz was inspired by that, I think, or at least connected with it in a very close way. So I think some of the stuff was inspired by it. It may even had some people or assets or things. I can't guarantee. I didn't look into all that. That's just a guess here. So don't take my word for any of that. But it is close enough to related with it that I wanted to put it here and I wanted to talk about it in relation to it. Anyways, it's a cool game in of itself. It's no longer maintained, like I said, but it's open. You can find it, you can test it out, play with it if you are interested in doing that kind of thing, or if you're someone that, watching the video right here and maybe you've wanted to work on something in relation to Sonic. Well, this is open. You can test it out and look at it and see what it has to offer if you're interested. And like I said, it was back in 2008, so I mean, it definitely has all of that stuff from back then in it. So that's where your interest lies with Sonic. You can find it there. Of course, like I said, uh, we have this whole big event here, and I genuinely feel like I have fully covered everything. So I haven't fully covered everything, but I fully covered everything about the month-long event. So we'll get into some other things, yes, and those are going to be. I don't know how quick they're going to be, but they are going to be important. So, let me make sure I have everything. Okay, I think I did that. Sonic Speed Streak Z. Oh, okay. Anyways, I won't bother you with all of that. Um, anyway, let me go ahead and talk about. Um, okay, I think this is relevant. So let me get my stuff close by while I talk about this big news and info for all things channel streaming and all those things. And let me get my voice at least a little bit easier if I can to listen to without from doing all this in my throat and stuff. I'm talking. Alright. Okay, so this is going to be an easier, more like, I'll talk about it later, but an important thing that you definitely want to know about if you are interested in content I make and things like that, as well as the other stuff I'm going to be talking about too. Actually, I can charge this up while I'm doing that. But yeah, I have been what I mean at this point. I've been making videos, and now I guess streaming. Anyways, let me talk about videos. I've been making videos for like 7 years, probably 8 almost, and I've been streaming for. Well, now I've been streaming for a couple months. I can't even believe it. Like what, 2, 3? I don't know however many. It's been a couple. I mean, technically I started it, but I don't know if I should count the streams where the audio was just absolutely a mess. The first stream I did was actually, wasn't it like at the beginning, like second or third month of the year, fourth month? So I technically it's been a couple months that I've like started getting into it, actually doing stuff with it. But I think as far as like actually streaming and whatnot, that started back with I think the last 2 custom zombie maps I played. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but you know, I'm gonna talk like in general cases about streaming and my content creation and stuff. I just want to do a little assessment, review of everything. I want to talk about it in terms of this event that I did, and just kind of give you like and maybe this will be like at the end of the video I did here. Anyways, if you're seeing this, this is kind of bonus and additional content that I'm including at the end of the video for any of you that are interested in my channel. This is talking about the Draco Meter channel. So, you're probably seeing this on the Draco channel archive, the Draco archive or whatever. I forget what it's called because it's a newer thing I made. But anyways, it's the archive channel or archive all the VODs. You've probably seen it there, or you'll be seeing it on Twitch as the VOD there too, which I should have up and going. Maybe not the day of it, or maybe I will. I try to. I try to get the first part. Like I do my videos, like I say, when we started with Sonic Adventure 2, that one was like 3 or 4 or 5 days worth of videos. I actually got cut because of the stream and the way it worked with going over a certain amount of hours. The stream got cut, which was kind of the first time experience for me. But um, maybe not this one if we're lucky. If we're lucky, this one won't go over. I think I get 19 hours, so we got about 20 minutes for me to talk about this, and it's not going to take me that long to do it. So I think we might have like a singular stream this time and not be cut up into 2. I think we might be lucky. It's not going to go to a VOD in a singular one because I can't upload 19 hours worth of footage over to. In this way, I probably could record it over there, but I can't. Or I could probably stream it over there and it would work, but I don't think you can actually put a recording or like a thing and send it over. So, that unfortunately I can't do it that way. Otherwise, I'd just put it as all as one. In this case, I'd probably cut it over into do 2. Anyways, let me put it this way. So, I think as far as events are concerned, this was a really, really fun event, really, really taxing event. I don't know if I'm going to do anything this involved again, or at least in this way. Um, as involved as I would do is kind of what I've done here after finishing playing through the whole games. And I still do want to play through like whole games and stuff, but I don't want to do it as much as I've been doing it here. I feel like I've exhausted myself with it. I have a couple of ideas for things that I've always wanted to do with playing full games that I might do in the future, so we still might have that. So there still is a couple full games that I do want to play, or like partial parts of games or things. Anyways, there's still some things that I want to, and we'll see whether or not those happen. Like I said, there's a lot we're talking about here as far as like how everything matters to the channel and to streaming and everything. But the assessment of this event is that I genuinely succeeded with it, but it went over time and it has used a lot of. Actually, it hasn't used too much extra time that I hadn't planned to give it, or that I hadn't had to give it. This time, I might have been a little behind in a couple things, so it might have. Eh, but like, it might be a little close to things, so cutting it a little bit close, but like, for the most part, I had the time to do this, and I'm happy that I'm not going as late as I did with the other one. With that being said, um, like I said, I don't want to do like, I basically could sum it up to being me doing 24-hour streams almost every single stream for all of these for this month-long event. Like almost every single one of all of the 4 streams has been 24 hours almost, like, or at least average. I mean, maybe average is like 22 or 20 or something. But anyways, for me, I've been spending 24 hours on it. Probably was more than that, like getting the VODs and stuff out and whatnot. I mean, if you count watching those, then definitely that's more than that. Anyways, I don't plan on doing that for other ones. That wasn't the plan for, but like 1 or 2 of the like. I think Eternal was the only one I thought might take that long. I thought Sonic Adventure 2 might take only like 60. Actually, I don't think it took that long. It was Doom 2 that took way longer than I thought it was going to take. I did not think it was going to go over the 15-hour mark. I thought it was going to be like a 15, 16-hour game. Maybe 14 hours. Like, I didn't expect it to go like 19, 20, however many it went. But I might have just struggled on a couple levels with it, to be fair. And plus, I put it on a like medium difficulty. I don't know, like there's 3 or 4 tiers of difficulty. Anyways, I put it on like the middle one, so that could have contributed to it. I did the same thing with Doom Eternal. I put it on like the middle difficulty because I was like I kind of want to do like, normal, or maybe some of them were hard mode. I don't know. Anyways, I kind of wanted to do a little bit challenging, but I didn't want to like do extreme stuff. Like, I say that only for like the 1 or 2 games that I am like, like I put every ounce into those games, and there are 1 or 2 games that I do have that with, that I would do that with. Surprisingly, like the 1 or 2 games I played like multiple times. I don't even know if there's a hard difficulty. I think it doesn't even have one. And the other one I'm thinking about might have one. Actually, I don't even think it does. Anyways, there is a game that I play that I definitely play at the hardest difficulty. Anyways, I don't play every game like that though. And these were the case where I did want to play a slightly harder difficulty, do a stream, play through the full ones for, the confines of this event for this whole month, tying into this game, referencing it through all these other games. I kind of had similar things. Like, I mean, I don't even just reference it in terms of like, oh, hey, these funny things, they're similar, right? I mean, I think like in terms of the Sonic games, like Secret Ring and stuff like that, I feel like they were inspired by Sonic Extreme and whatnot to some extent. Like, I feel like some of the stuff might have been taken from it. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Some of these things kind of could have come from it, right? Not everything, but the rings and stuff might have been an idea that was in the works for a while that might have came off of it. I feel like that could have got put into it. Anyways, I digress. That there's just so much interesting information. I was gonna do a topic at the beginning. I was gonna make it into a video. That'd be really interesting. But then I thought, well, I have a lot of videos I'm making, right? That are very dedicated, very detailed. And I thought, well, let me make a stream. Let me see how that does. Like, if I could just make my video within a stream, that would be kind of interesting. So this is almost a test bed to see how that would go. I mean, my video isn't going to be like 4 games, right? Like, I thought, well, if I'm going to do a stream, I'm going to make it a month-long event. I know it's partial Doom, partial Sonic. I want to take some important games, some games that are slightly connected and whatnot. And I wanted to make it a whole month-long event. So I might have like extended a couple of things, but for the most part, everything is kind of where it is with in terms of the game's associations and connections. I wanted to make everything tie together so that when I play the games over time, you'll start to see a pattern, start to see, well, how these associate, how these might reference each other, how these might have some interesting things. I mean, Eternal kind of was like it might be an outlier here, but I didn't really know what else to pick, and it was a game I had that I could play, and it was a really cool game. And I thought, in all honesty, after playing through it, I felt like it actually fit very well, like surprisingly well, for what we were doing with this Sonic event. Like, I did not expect all the things to tie well into all the other stuff I'm doing and into this. Like, I didn't expect that game to tie into all of this stuff as well as it did. So, I mean, I definitely, I really liked that game. That's probably one of my favorite ones I played through. Like, just just going into it and playing through it. I just genuinely enjoyed playing through it. I enjoyed Doom 2 and everything. That one was really fun and cool. But playing through Doom Eternal, that game I just had a lot of fun with, and it was just interesting. I mean, I had fun with all of them. I'll tell you that. But as far as like going into a game, an experience I just didn't expect. Doom 2 or Doom Eternal was that. Doom 2 was a really fun experience. I knew what I was getting into because I was familiar with Doom 2. I've heard about it. I've always had a really big interest in it. It was a game that I've always really wanted to play, and I went in and played it. So it surprised me with how it was, levels and things. But Doom Eternal was a game I hadn't ever really thought about playing before, but I had the chance to play it. So I thought, now I have the game, now I might give it a shot. Really cool game. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope that you did too if you are seeing it. Actually, they might even still be releasing some, or maybe I'm on Doom 2. I haven't kept track of that, the VOD archive, because, those are kind of, I already did the stream. Archive is just archiving the videos, the footage, for anyone that wants to see it, anyone that, ever has any purpose or use to say, like, hey, I need to reference something in Doom. This is kind of useful for me to use. Here's a reference. You have it right there. It's always there. If I need it as a reference, it's there. Um, it's just a really useful thing, to be honest, for footage and for games and for all streams and for all of that stuff. I like I said, I've been working on, and this actually is a good transition here. I've been trying to work on a system for making videos, for making streams. See whether or not I'm gonna make streams on, as much as I am, or if I'm gonna like I said, I want to make streams special events like this where they're like a very big event. The only thing is I don't think I could do this every month. And definitely, this is only like once a year kind of thing if I would even do this again. I think when I do a stream month long event, it's gonna be probably like smaller things in each stream. Like, if I was gonna be honest, I would rather the streams be under 12 hours. Under 12 hours would be nice. I like the 6 hour ones, the 8 hour ones. Those are nice. I'm not like going over, too much. I get to play through like a good portion. I mean, maybe I won't play through full games, but I'll play through portions of games. Maybe I'll play like through, a certain important bit, talk about like some interesting information, do like a dive into something, do like some interesting, like there's interesting ideas for what it could entail a month long special event, but it wouldn't be every month. Eventually, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I can't promise that that would be a thing, but I think at least a couple months out of the year is what I've accomplished here, and that's what I can consider if I ever do some more of these, because I don't know what I would do for another one. And like I said, it takes a lot of planning. This one didn't take as, it just kind of was something that came up during all the stuff I was doing. I'll give you this. I've been fortunate to have lots of ideas for videos, so I think there's always the chance that there are possibilities for more, special events that are not this long. I'm sorry if you were looking forward to. I I mean, to be fair, maybe you watch the video afterwards, like the VOD, and that's split up into like 3 or 4 hour bits. So like, it's digestible in some extent. Uh, I mean, probably more digestible if I released only like two of them a week. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not trying to make them into like a video series. That's only like a slight test bed with that. Just to see like I play through a game, has parts, right? Series thing. It's just a test bed for that. I just kind of wanted to see how that works. It was always something I was interested in seeing. Like, okay, can you make a stream? And okay, can you cut it into parts? And okay, can it be like like a video series? And I was doing the footage already, and I wanted to put it as an archive. So I'm kind of testing that at the same time. I'm testing a lot of stuff at the same time. So I basically, anyways, or I have been testing. Everything I've been doing has been testing. I have a lot of stuff that I tested. I think now is at the point where I'm getting to like refinement instead of all of the testing because I've just done so much testing at this point. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have um, too much to say uh, yet about every single thing that's been worked on, just because it'd be hard to keep track of and everything uh, and whatnot. But I will say that I've made a lot of videos in advance, right? All the ones that I made, I mean, to me, they're in advance. Because before, when I was making videos, like the prior years, I'd make them the week before ish. And that's kind of like editing or recording. I would record them the week before, and then it'd be the next week that they would be uploaded. But this one, not recorded and edited. I do all of that and upload it and stuff. That'd be like every week. And then and then but now it's kind of planned far ahead, like really far ahead. And I have been doing lots and lots of videos, connecting them, making events and things together, learning how to do that. I feel like I've learned a lot. I have a lot of information, so I'm gonna just put it this way: when you watch and look at the stuff I've been doing, you might think I've been doing something entirely different than what I've been doing. It's not entirely the case. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's very confusing. I can't tell you everything I've done. Can't tell you everything that's happening because everything hasn't happened yet. Um, but like, I've just been working on so much at once, and sometimes you might see that. Sometimes you might see some of the other things that I've already finished. I've actually finished a lot of things that might make it seem like I have like a whole bunch of people working on a whole bunch of things when no, it's I just did a lot of preparation and editing and statistics and all of that stuff. So like I had all that stuff pre-planned, and I've been releasing these things. Um, I I think um, yeah, I mean, I definitely do a little bit of editing, but for the most part, as far as like what I've had with my events, trying to plan these events, trying to plan videos and things to connect with them, and trying to connect things like what I've been doing with videos and what I've wanted to do for the longest time is release my videos at a time that makes sense for them to be released. I didn't want to just release them at any time. I wanted to release them when the games or things surrounding them are doing things, or when they're going to be doing things. Rather than I could tell you much, but when they are going to be doing things is when I'm going to be releasing them, and that is when they have mostly been, because there's been events and things happening at similar times. Yes, and there are. I like here with Sonic, right? The movie is coming out. I wanted to do all these things in preparation for it. I wanted to release a bunch of content surrounding that. And, I think I did it with like Call of Duty. I was doing all of that. The game was coming out. Um, I did it like the more you look at the stuff I've been releasing, the more you can kind of see how it connects with things. Technically, everything has something going on. So I mean, if I do something, you might be able to draw some association there. But those were actually planned for the most part. Technically, the Call of Duty one was a little planned with some other stuff, which I don't even think got mention just because my audio issues and stuff, but uh, maybe you'll see that come up, maybe you won't. We'll see how things come up and go. I don't know. I'm not involved in it, but we'll see. Um, and then the Sonic thing, like I said, this is with a movie. This is um let me think. Uh, I guess I have so much information I've been looking over. Is I just have it because I've been playing through all these games, and it's just kind of obvious some of the stuff happening. But um, been writing all these scripts and stuff for like months over, like a couple months over time, compiling all this information and stuff, trying to make like interesting topics for videos. Yeah. Okay. The main reason I'm bringing this up is because this is my assessment of my new way of doing things. I think it is like a lot of stuff. I think what I did that helped me the most was when I stopped making videos for a while, and but I didn't stop making videos. Like I was making stuff, I was doing stuff in preparation for the events to come up. Like I was building content up, like building up my catalog of content to make and release and do things with. Uh, I feel like that was the time where I had more time to do stuff, more time to plan stuff out, more time to figure out, how much time I actually have for content, how much time I have for other stuff, how much time I have for like videos, and then like plan like big events to come out and just spend the time on those events because it's fun. Like spending, I mean, to be fair, like having if it was only one that was 24 hours, that would have been a lot of fun. First time I'd done that, something I've always wanted to do, and I did it. So Doom Eternal was that for me. Maybe that's why it was so special is because it was the first game that I did like at that full 24-hour mark. Whereas technically Sonic Adventure 2 I did at like the I don't even know. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close to cut off. Anyways, I do have a pretty important announcement that's going to come in just a second, but I did want to say I think it's a little taxing the way I'm doing things like at this current junction and point, so I probably won't be doing them as much. And as far as videos, streams, things are concerned, I don't have any streams to talk about. Like each of them I've had like planned and stuff, but we've completed this event here. So next time I mention something a stream, it's gonna be an event, and I don't have an event to mention here. But when I do mention an event, it will be probably over on in a so in my videos descriptions, I always have the next thing coming up I mentioned there. So, like on the last video I make, that would be the place that I would include any information. The next time there's going to be a stream or anything like that, that's where I would include it because that's always going to be like the next thing. Like I go from the video then to the stream, and that's kind of like the order of events and whatnot. With all that being said, though, I think I'm probably gonna say that there's like I said, no more streams planned at the moment, but when I do plan them, that's where you can find it. Any of the information, any of the schedule for when the streams, they'll always be over here. And like you said, if you ever want to watch the VODs or anything, those are still going to be releasing for like a next couple of days, maybe a week or two. Those are still going to be releasing. You'll be able to see all this and all the stuff that happened forever and ever should be over there, for the most part. So if you ever want to go back and watch any of these events, because there's so much more detail than I can even talk about in one little instance here from all the streams and things I've done, even for this month-long event. I can't even sum up everything that happened, to be quite honest, in a good way that's digestible. I don't think it's even easy to digest everything here and all in one bit, and I'm trying to, but as you can see, that's kind of difficult. So you might still want to watch some of it if you haven't seen some of the streams. I think you could still find some of them on Twitch, but like at the beginning of the month, I don't think you could. It's like 7 days, 11 days. I forget the exact cutoff point, but they get deleted after that. So that's why we have the VOD channel. So you can always check out the VOD archive. I can't remember if I have a link to it through here, but you can always check it out. Let me double check the name of it real quick. I'll get it up while I mention the other information for you, because I do need to get into it anyways. But so it is. Sorry for my voice. It is Draco VOD's archive, so you can definitely find it. That's where this is going to go in addition to being on Twitch, and it'll always be there. And you can always find it, watch any of the streams. They are going to be chopped up into parts. I might remove a couple bits here and there just because there are like some intros and some excessively like long retries on things that I might delete out of the video, the VOD part of it from time to time. But for the most part, I'm keeping it mostly there. I'm not like heavy edit. I'm not even editing it. I'm just removing a couple bits here and there that I want to remove. But for the most part, everything's mostly intact, so you can always check it out, look at it, review it, and anything like that. And I think that's going to continue for the future if I make any more streams. You're always going to find it there. I might have more interesting or different things I could do with it. Like I mentioned in like a stream prior or whatever, I had an idea for like music stuff that we could do during a stream. I mean, that's always still in the air if in the future if I ever do that. For this stream, I don't think I mentioned it, but I fixed up the sound, not sound alert. Yeah, I think it is sound alerts. Yeah, I fixed up sound alerts, so that works now. So like if anyone wants to do that, it should just automatically go through. You don't have to worry about it. And then uh, I definitely did fair share of things for this stream. Uh, there was a lot. I think I covered everything that, as far as like making videos has been a longer process. I spent a lot more time. I spent like a couple months working on some things. Some things are going to take me more than a couple months to make. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's going to be some things that are, like that I've always wanted to do, and that's kind of where I've been going with videos and things. Just kind of wanted to do some things that I've always wanted to do, and just and there's luckily there's only a couple things, so it's not like hundreds and hundreds of things, but there's still the chance for a couple smaller projects too. We'll see. I have ideas. I have lots of ideas. So we still got plenty of things that are possible for coming up. Lots of things I've already done. Like I said, ideas wise, there's plenty of ideas to come up from all that stuff I've done as I look over it and stuff. But out of all of my exhaustion for making these streams, it's hard to look back on stuff all the time. But over time, I'm gonna remember things I did and get inspired by things, make new things probably. So we'll see how things go. But make it the hope for things. And with all of that said, um, I genuinely think for this year I've put in a lot of time, and I'm just happy to be able to talk about a lot of this stuff. Like I said, there's still one more thing that I'm gonna reveal here. But for the most part, I've just been working on videos, and I think the biggest thing that honestly has been a slight mistake, and I really would like not to do it. I don't know if it's going to be the case for this last bit here. It's not the thing itself, but just tied in with other stuff because I've been working on so many things. Basically, I've released some videos, and they were released at the times they were supposed to be, but I don't feel like I was as prepared as I was for when they released. So like some of them did really really well. Some of them didn't do as well as I thought, but like in terms of me being prepared for the video and whatnot, like I released the video, then I need to keep up with everything as far as like the topic and the thing I'm talking about in the video, so that I can be like current on everything going on while the video is released, so that I know everything that's being talked about in relation. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna be releasing something and then like I don't even know what I'm talking about. And I want to be able to talk to people if they come into it. Like, what do they thinking about when they're watching the video. What are they looking at? What do they need to know? What do I need to know? It's just it's been a lot to do that, right? Because I've been working on so many other projects, both videos and other things, and it's just like um, just having both of those things kind of coincide. Sometimes I might have like stuff that gets a little backed up because I'm just trying to get like all of the stuff I'm working on compiled and work with it, and get you your videos, get you your all this stuff. It could be hard to do all that, right? Because there's just so much. If you've seen how much I've released, all of it I came up with like in a couple months, and then it's been taken like over the year just working on it, and having like smaller ideas pop up that I can do additionally, add to it. But for the most part, I have kept it to what I planned. I did not let it deviate. I did not let it change itself in like essence of what I was trying to do. I mean, obviously there might be script things, there might be a couple things I added to it, a couple things that came out that I didn't expect, or like came out and I might expect things to come out that I don't know what they're gonna be, but I know things are gonna come out or happen. So like I try to plan as best I can for certain things, and then other times I just there's like other things I'm doing that are kind of interesting, and I want to tie things together, or I'm just interested in something, so maybe it gets put in some way or another. There's so much stuff that goes into the videos that I've been making behind the scenes wise. And that's all of them that I've been making. Like all of them have had that. Some of them haven't had as much attention as others, but for the most part, I spend as much time as I can just thinking about like the script. Like I know maybe people like make a good script, but I've like planned every little bit of it and then tying it like to the thumbnail, to the script. Oh, maybe not the description as well. I don't. I mean, I think about it, but like not as much as I with the script and stuff for sure, and getting resources and gathering resources. I hope it's been interesting, like my change on video content, making videos that are kind of like um, interesting information, like hopefully lesser known. I've been trying to get information that's not like stuff that everybody knows, but like stuff that most people don't really know. And I feel like this was like one of them. That's why I was gonna make it a video, but happy to make it a stream. And with that being said, the biggest thing that I did that I felt like I didn't was like I just wasn't able to be fully there for everything that I did. Like I would release something, and it might come out that it come out across the way like that I'm prepared to take on a bunch of information. Like I have like all these ideas, these inspirations, and I'm gonna make like a bunch of cool and interesting ideas and like spin some interesting content ideas and stuff. Like I want to, but I already have stuff prepared. I'm working, and I kind of like add it to that stuff, right? So it's not gonna be the stuff you always see like up front. It's kind of like I get inspired and I put in like to these other things and plan ahead and stuff. And so it just takes longer than that. But so I definitely get inspired by it. Sometimes like with the Spider-Man video that I released, that one was actually very close to release that I did it. I will mention this. I didn't mention it during it, but I can mention it now. The 3D models I made for that, I actually made them over the span of like 2 or 3 days. So like, I did that. I mean, it was my first time ever doing that. Let me just digress. Say that. First time I ever did that. I tested a lot of new things. I was like a new editing style, so I will admit, the ideas might have not been fleshed out in the way that most people might expect it to be. But as far as like drawing, editing, it was just a test bed for me to see how like a bunch of different ideas could work, and how I could learn how to edit in a new way, and how to make assets for things that, like edit it for editing, and stuff that I'd never done before. And I just wanted to get my hands on that, and it was just a topic that allowed me to do that. And it was just really really interesting. There was a lot of things I was putting out. you know there was lots of other videos and stuff, but like I just wanted to put that out there, that like everything I did for that was actually really close to when I released it. Whereas with a lot of the other ones, it was like a month before or something. Like I've been working on it a couple months, like the script and compiling the information. If you look at the description of them, I always include like the resources, the links. I include the dates with the links if I'm not mistaken, so you can see like when I first initially started working on it. If you want to, and some of them are like months before, just to get all the information, put into a digestible format. Now, the reason it's months before is not because I can't put together some like the Spider-Man one I was talking about that I just did. That one only took me, I don't know. I might have some information on it, but that one only I did like within that month I released it, or like the month before. Like I did that one all within that time. But the reason I have them like they are is because I'm doing more than one project at a time. That's why it's months. Takes that long because I'm trying to release more than one video at a time, and I don't want to just release something and then not have other things released. So that's kind of why I'm doing it that way. And I feel like I can slightly alter things, since I do it this way to coincide with other stuff if need be. But for the most part, everything's been, after I finish it, it's I just like over the time I make it, everything works out, and I finish it, and I'm able to put it out. As far as like getting the idea I wanted to get out and being able to learn from what I'm trying to learn, right? Because I make the video, I have something I'm trying to do with it, something I'm trying to make with it, something I'm trying to learn with it. I'm not just trying to make content that's interesting, but I'm actually trying to learn about what I'm making and learn about what makes it interesting and how I can make it interesting because I like the creative part of it. That's always been the part that I liked about making and editing the video is how I can make it creative. Plus, I get to play games that I really like too and talk about them, and it's just kind of like a nice thing to put time into the creative aspect and figure out my own things, which I hopefully I've been getting more into like my own things as I've like with making the content I've gotten into more of like my own style of things, if that makes sense, like my own way of going about things, my own way of editing, own kind of style. Like I'm not trying to draw from. I mean, I have inspiration and stuff from different editing styles and whatnot, and things I've learned over the years. But for the most part, I feel like I'm testing new things. Like I understand it at a level where I'm able to come up with new concepts on my own without being introduced to them by anyone else. Like they just come to me. I test them out and I see how they do, and sometimes it's just really interesting to test something out that just comes to my mind, like a new way of editing things, a new concept, a new like game breakdown, breaking it down in a way that other people might not know how to do because I have at least some experience with how it gets coded, how it gets designed, and all of that, how the assets get made, and I'm getting more experience as I'm testing out some of the knowledge I've actually gained from doing things. Like, I have knowledge of 3D modeling. I've actually done 3D modeling beforehand. I didn't do characters. I did like objects and things, but I kind of was learning that. I'm learning some of these other things and kind of going into some of that. Like I did, I always like with modeling. I've always done like the environments and kind of been interested in that kind of stuff. Like that's more of my experiences. But um uh it, and of course the coding and stuff. Like I do a lot of that. And I have some experience in terms of games. Uh, but I actually have experience with Unity. Um, and you know, I think I can at least talk about a little bit of some of these topics. Like when I talk about collisions, when I talk about these other things, well, maybe not collisions, maybe that's not a good one to bring up. But when I talk about like stuff, I mean, you might be able to tell that I at least have a little bit of experience about how the internals work for games. And, I talk about trigger events. I talk about, I mean, I don't focus on like the specifics behind all those. I just mean like when I talk about this stuff, I have somewhat of an idea about how all this is built, how this is done. Obviously, we're talking about like Hangis mods. You probably had at least some idea that I at least somewhat involved with this stuff. And yes, like I've done mods, I've done all that on my channel. That's probably been a pretty big staple, right? Doing Minecraft mods, doing custom maps, doing all that kind of stuff. Like I always do that stuff. Um, and how and where and when that goes, we'll say. But like I said, I've had some editing ideas, and I've just wanted to look at some of my favorite games and come up with ideas for them, because I feel like I have, the ability to come up with ideas for stuff, and I had some experience, so why not try to throw some of that stuff in there? And with that being said, like, recently releasing the Pokemon stuff, and whatnot, and releasing the other things in terms of ideas, that can be like your mental image of what I mean by ideas and things. I'm trying to remember. Like, this is the only one I can reference off the top of my head. There's plenty of other ones too. With all that being said, though, I feel like I've covered everything, and the only thing we have left is the little info drop I'm gonna put here at the end. So I don't think I wrote down the date, but on Christmas I'm gonna have a video releasing. So that's gonna be the next thing. I forget but yeah, I don't have the date written down anywhere, but I did write down on Christmas. So you know, that's the date, because that is a date. I'm just not looking at it at the moment. Anyways, yes, on Christmas, that's when I'll be releasing, and yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to I'm not going to talk anymore about it. The stream's not going to have any more talking. You've got far too much information, to be quite honest, and count this stream very lucky that it'll be included in the video, because I probably could just delete this and it could only be part of this stream until it gets deleted off there. But I want to include it in the VOD, so I'm going to leave it in there with the Sonic thing and whatnot. So if you're seeing this from the VOD, this is kind of what's been going on and what happened. And of course, if anyone's listening to this right now, I definitely want to thank you. I honestly, all the dedication that it goes into actually listening to this and all the time that goes into this, I honestly want to thank you if you do. But with that being said, I think that's what we're going to be doing for the next video. And of course, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you were there, I appreciated it. And of course, I hope you enjoyed the events, month-long events. I hope you enjoyed the events I had for our little different month events, and the slightly included thing I did too, which it wasn't like a month event, but like, it was just a stream I had. There were a couple streams I had that were just kind of like individual streams that were interesting. So like, like I said, month-long events are good, and you never know. There could always be something that pops up that's just really interesting that I want to do. That's an idea, like I do with videos, that might even require a stream. So you never know. But with all that being said, with me having such a large test bed and testing so many ideas out, I have so much to go over. I just need to go over all that stuff, and like I said, it's gonna take a while to make videos and do things and figure out how much time I have to make videos, how much time I have to make other stuff, how much time I have to do things. So like, like I said, the next video that comes out is gonna be on Christmas. Anyways, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and as always, I hope to see you in or at the release of that video. Or I guess you might not do it on that day, but hopefully you do. It shouldn't be a very long video. I'll tell you that much. Maybe a couple minutes, but it's pretty important. Worked on it for a while. Hopefully you'll see what I mean by that. Anyways, thank you.